Well, good morning. I'm Alan. This is my wife Teresa. We're the Taylors, and we're embarking on a new adventure. And just to tell you about it, we are living in a Chevy Express 1500 that my wife converted into a tiny home on wheels. And wanted to share with you a little bit about what we're doing, why we decided to adopt this lifestyle. And so a couple of years ago, we were active in a church plant, helping to plant a church in Pennsylvania. And we decided to, or I said to my wife, I said, hey, I just felt like the Lord was leading us in a different direction and leading us away from that ministry. And so I said, why don't we just take to the road, and I'll write books, we can sell books, we can run a sort of publishing company on the road. And my wife's initial response was,
no.
She said she needed a home base, and I respected that. She wanted to have a place to lay her head in case she got tired of traveling, something to go back to. And we had been considering moving to another state in between Pennsylvania and Texas, because we have grandchildren in both states. Our youngest in South Texas, and the rest of them are in Pennsylvania. So we thought we could position ourselves somewhere in between, about halfway, and travel back and forth between them to visit. But something happened about a year later, in February 2020, just before everything went crazy. Our landlord, we were at the time living in a house, renting a parsonage from the church that we were attending, and the pastor of the church, serving as our landlord, came and asked us to move. They wanted to use our space for ministry purposes, and asked us if we would move out. They gave us plenty of notice, and so we graciously said okay. And a couple of days later, my wife said, well, that idea you had about taking to the road and doing the publishing and the writing and all that? I said, yeah. And she said, why don't we do that? And that took me by surprise, but I prayed about it, thought about it a couple of days, and said, okay, sure, let's go. And so we started looking for a vehicle, but before we could find one, Pennsylvania's governor had shut down the state. Everything was locked down completely. We couldn't buy a vehicle, even if we found one we wanted, because there'd be no way to transfer its title and do all the paperwork. The state was shut down.
But we could look and we could plan.
Right, so we did continue looking, and we ended up, when the state opened up in May, we found a shuttle bus and bought the shuttle bus, and my wife converted that to a RV while I worked the freelance business. I'm a writer. My wife is a graphic artist, and so I was working clients, freelance writing, and she was working on the bus and converting that to an RV. And she did that in about 6 weeks, thanks to her expert carpentry skills. And
Not expert. They pass. Sometimes.
She's pretty good at the amateur level. So anyways, she did a great job, and we took the bus, and on July 4th, moved from Pennsylvania to Texas. And we parked outside my parents' home. All my family live in Texas.
Most of them on 8 acres.
Yeah. So we parked on that 8 acres and joined the family there. Initially, we were planning to stay for 3 months and go back to Pennsylvania, then come back to Texas in December for our youngest grandchild's birth. She was born in December. But with all the craziness going on, the election and riots and pandemic, and all the pandemic cases were on the rise again because of the winter weather coming on, we decided to shelter in place through the winter, to kind of see how things played out. And then come January, we realized that bus just wasn't very practical for us. It took a lot of planning to figure out how we're going to get into certain places and how to get out and where we were going to park it, all of that kind of stuff. And you know, we had to be very careful about where we took it. So we decided to downsize to a van, and so we shopped around and found this cute little Chevy Express. And in 2 weeks, my wife turned it into a living space for us. And so now we are traveling the U.S. in a Chevy Express, turned into a tiny home on wheels. So we left Texas yesterday, and last night was our first night living in our Chevy Express, away from home, outside, you know, on the road. And so we visited Alexandria, Louisiana. Spent a couple hours there, and then hit the road and pulled into a national park here outside of Lafayette. Yeah, state park.
City park.
Yeah, state park, I guess, and here in Lafayette, Louisiana. And that's where we spent the night. And now we're on our way this morning, be heading out to Orlando, Florida, or toward Orlando, be there by the end of the week. And then we'll be heading north again. So anyways, we invite you to our new channel. We hope you subscribe. We'll be bringing you some adventures, things that we encounter along the way, people we meet, and things that we do. And we hope that you like our perspective on the van life here in the U.S.
Tune in next time for a video about Lafayette, Louisiana. Even if I can't say that.
We'll see you then. God bless.